Good morning, everyone. This is one of those mornings where you might have gotten out of bed and looked out that window and said, I'm going to go right back to bed. Or it might have been one of those mornings where you're like, wow, it finally rained. Thank you, Jesus. We've got a few different moving parts this morning for you. Some guest musicians today. And our stalwart musician, our lead vocalist, Melissa, is going to take the lead on our message this morning. So we're looking forward to switching things up here a little bit, but also not completely. And by that I mean, let's all take a moment as we do each week to get grounded. Let's take a few deep breaths. Feel your feet on the floor. Let's come to presence together as you respond to the words I'm about to say on the screen. Come as you are, aching, tired, joyful, or seeking. Here we are woven together in love. Set down what you carry and let this be a place of rest. Here we are held in hope and mercy. Be present to yourself, to each other, and to the divine life that flows through all things. Here, together, find the common thread of divine life that connects us all. This common thread of divine life in which we live and move and have our being. Our God, who is lover, beloved, and love overflowing. Amen.
Come thou found. Nope. Sorry.
Not
You
yet.
first. That's what you get for having amateurs.
No, you do light it. Go ahead. Told you we're doing things a little different this morning.
I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and found only God.
Come thou fount of every blessing, tune my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnet, sung by flaming tongues above. Praise the mount, I'm fixed upon it, mount of thy redeeming love. Oh, raise mine Ebenezer, hither by thy help I've come, and I hope by thy good pleasure safely to arrive at home. Jesus sought me when a stranger, wandering from the fold of God. He to rescue me from danger interposed his precious blood. to me. Let thy goodness as a fetter bind my wandering heart to thee. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it. Prone to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, oh, take and seal it for thy courts above. Here's my heart, oh, take and seal it for thy courts above.
Well, good morning, all, and welcome to Common Thread. I'm Morgan. I am the leader of the community care team at Common Thread. And just welcome you this morning. Good to see your faces. If you are a newcomer, an old timer, someone who's been here a year, or someone that used to come years ago, if you found us online or stumbled in from the street, whoever you are, whatever brought you here today, you belong. And we are so happy to have you with us this morning. If you want to know more about us, just click on this QR code and we'll send you a zero pressure email with more information, including the option to connect with a live human being, which if you really want to know what we are about, that's the best way to go, to find out more about where we shine, where we fall short, but mostly how transformation is the aim wherever each of us is on the spiritual journey. Knowing that making that journey together takes us farther than we could ever go on our own. So welcome. An even more heartfelt welcome if you're here today and having a hard time. In our culture, it's our inclination to isolate when the going gets tough, but we know that standing together in our hard times is an act of solidarity. It's an act of love, and it's part of what makes our personal and collective transformation possible. So each Sunday down the hall, we have a trained listener, and our listener today is Dawn. Dawn, yep, okay.
She'll be here. Yeah.
Okay, great. So if you're having a challenging time, she's a trained listener that can hold space for you. She can give you a shoulder to cry on, or just ears to listen so you can get a different perspective on your situation. And if you, also, she will hold everything you say in absolute confidence. And if you don't want to go to a listener, but again, you're having a challenging time, you can reach out to me, click on this QRL, and you can request support through me. So I'll find out what's going on, and then I'll try to point you in the right direction so we can find the support that you need. So now, let's say together, as we do each week, if you are here, you belong. We are, every one of us, carriers of the inner light. And we are, every one of us, carriers of divine breath. So as carriers of the divine light and the divine breath, I ask you to stand up and greet each other.
All right, and as you find your way back to your seats, please. If you find your way back to your seats, I want to say before Sky and Phil here continue with their music that we're doing a little bit of old-time religion today. And often we tweak lyrics and we soften them, but we're not doing that today. We're going to be able to inhabit them knowing that they contain all things.
Yes. But we just play instrumental for a minute while she does.
A little old-time religion. All right.
We just sing it. I'll not be a stranger when I get to that city. I'm acquainted with folks over there. There are my friends to greet me, loved ones to greet me, and I've lived city Foursquare. Through the years, through the tears, they've all come and gone. I will wait at the gate until my race is run. I'll not be a stranger when I get to that city. I'm acquainted with folks over there. I'll not be a stranger when I get to that city. I'm a farmer, the streets filled with gold. There'll be the elm there and the beautiful somewhere where the felt ones and friends that I've home. Through the years, through the tears, they've all come and gone. I'll wait at the gate until my race is run. I'll not be a stranger when I get to that city. I'm acquainted with folks over there. Through the years, through the tears, they've all come and gone. I'll wait at the gate until my race is run. I'll not be a stranger when I get to that city. I'm acquainted with folks over there. I'm acquainted with folks over there. A stranger when I get to that city. There'll be no lonely days over there. There'll be no stormy weather. When a great time together.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Okay, so our announcements. We've got quite a lot going on. Not going to run through them all, but another one that I do want to highlight is going to be our dinner social. It's not on here, but it is online. That's happening May 7th at my house. So anyone can go online and sign up for that. And we usually have about 8 people, and it's kind of a potluck deal. Have a lot of fun. So if you're interested in that, just go online and sign up. Also, we have got Ridge Spring Picnic here on campus. This is a unique and new opportunity to mingle with Ridge Road Baptist. Sunday, May 17th at 12 o'clock. They're going to provide the main dish and dessert, so we can just bring a side or dessert. Is there a sign up for that as well? That's not a sign up, so you don't need to sign up, just show up. Also, live at the Ridge, the Trey Wellington Band, Friday, May 29th at 5:30. That'll be a good time with bluegrass, barbecue, beer, and free snow cones and popcorn. Have a lot going on. And if you missed anything or you want a deeper dive, you can find out one of 3 ways. You can go to the app, you can go to our website, or the weekly email that comes out on Thursdays. Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan. Let me make a couple of extra pitches there. If you've not been to Morgan's home and experienced her and Jeff's hospitality, sign up. You will not regret it. Go to that dinner. And if you've never seen the Trey Wellington Band, I have. They're really good. And this is going to be the Ridge's first opportunity to sell beer, right? This Baptist church. So they're looking forward to seeing how that goes. But that'll be fun. But also the picnic. We're gonna join with the groups, all of the groups here on campus. I think as many as show up to have fellowship that day, and it'll be right after church. So just consider coming to that. I wanted to also, Melissa spoke about this last week, the self-awareness practice groups that are forming. All you need to do is what we tell you to do most of the time around here is email Ashley at her admin@Common Thread address and just let her know that you're interested in doing this. One of the reasons why I have found it really helpful in my life, a lot of us have done life story groups, and life story groups are amazing. Here's the difference between a life story group and a self-awareness practice group. In your life story group, you kind of go in knowing how you're going to tell your story. You're the narrator of your story, and you'll tell it differently every time. But when we do the practice groups, when someone does a worksheet and someone's a listener and there's a group of people watching this process unfold, guess what? You're telling part of your life story, but you don't know where it's going to go. And that might sound scarier, but in some ways it's more vulnerable. And I know that when I have done this in the past with folks, the people with whom I have done it, I have a very different connection, a deeper connection, because we've seen something deeply vulnerable in each other. And believe me when I tell you that when you do this and you do this practice with folks in this community, there's nobody wagging a finger and there's nobody ever thinking anything less of you. The compassion just grows. And so this is an opportunity to not just learn how to do this practice, which is very important for us to, I think it's important for all of us to do some kind of practice of self-awareness, but we have a process here. But you will also build some deeply meaningful relationships in this community. And so if that's something you're looking for, I encourage you to just say, you're interested. This isn't a commitment. You're just letting us know that you're interested, and we'll get the groups formed in the next couple of weeks. And with that, I would like to invite us all to get grounded again. Feel your feet on the floor. And just arrive in your body. Let your hands rest naturally wherever they fall. We are not efforting here. We are being. We don't need to change anything. Let's just notice. Notice that you are here. Just notice your breath. How the air fills your lungs. And how you release that air back into the atmosphere around you. There's a way we move through the world most of the time. Thinking, figuring, processing, trying to make sense of things that don't always make sense. And for a few moments this morning, you can let all of that be as it is without needing to resolve it. So I invite you to bring your attention down into your body. And again, notice your feet. The quiet contact with the ground beneath you, grounding you and rooting you, connecting you to all that is. Allow that attention to flow up through your legs. Any tension, any ease, just noticing what's there. That attention to your hips and your back. The places that carry you through your days. Bring your attention to your belly. See if there's even a small softening there. Now bring your attention to your chest and your heart space. Not asking it to feel anything, just noticing what's already there. And bring attention to your shoulders. If they've been holding something, see if they might set it down just for now. Let your attention flow now into your arms, to your hands, into your throat, that place from where your voice comes, that place where something in you knows how to express, even if you don't always let it. Now let that attention flow into your face, softening your jaw, your eyes, your temples, and your forehead. And take a few deep breaths as you notice the aliveness in your body. There may have been a time when this kind of aliveness, when this kind of awareness felt more natural to you, more immediate. Before you learned what you were supposed to think or what you were supposed to be. And even if that feels far away now, just notice something in you is still aware, still present, still here. It's not something you have to reach for, not something you have to figure out, just something that's never left. And from this place, there's nothing you need to prove, nothing you need to perform. Nothing you need to get right. Just the quiet invitation to be here and to notice what is already alive in you.
Psych, we're actually doing a different song now. Sure, what's easier. This song is on theme, on theme for the day. Oh, wish that I'd had whiskey before the river dried.
before my mother died, before I hit the ground. Wish that I'd had something to ease my worried mind, to make the world seem kinder than it does now. So I'll go to the sermon, but I'll sing, yeah, I'll sing what I want, 'cause I'm not certain there's a plan or a purpose or a God in the sky. But I can try and I can try, I'll try and I can try, and I'll maybe turn this thing around. Daddy didn't pay much mind about his little girl. He was trying to hold his world together with 2 bits and baling wire. Maybe I'd sleep better if I had some peace of mind, if I learned how to be fine in the heart of the mire. So I'll go to the sermon, but I'll sing, yeah, I'll sing what I want, 'cause I'm not certain there's a plan or a purpose or a God in the sky. But I can try and I can try, I'll try and I can try, and I'll maybe turn this thing around. Every day I wonder, is hope something that's born out? Will I just get worn out, reaching for more? And if I just keep walking, well, someday will I run? If Sunday ever come for the work week poor? So I'll go to the sermon, but I'll sing, yeah, I'll sing what I want, 'cause I'm not certain there's a plan or a purpose or a God in the sky. I can try and I can try, I'll try and I can try, I'll try and I can try and I can try, and I can sing what I want, 'cause I'm not certain there's a plan or a purpose or a God in the sky. But I can try and I can try, I can try and I can try, I can try and I can try, and I can sing what I want. Thank you.
All right, am I on? I'm on, okay. I'll go to the sermon, but I'll sing what I want. Seems very apropos for when they ask me to stand up here and talk. So here's me singing what I want. So, probably unsurprising to no one, I grew up in a household that loved music. There was rarely ever a time when it wasn't wafting through every room in the house. And we had all the hits. Elton John, Genesis, Heart, Bowie, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, the Eagles, Jackson Browne, Tina Turner. If John Boy and Billy played it on 106.1 WRDU, then my father probably played it in our house. There was briefly a period of time when I was about 3 or 4 years old where my dad realized that if he put on Every Breath You Take by the Police, that no matter where I was in the house, I would immediately stop what I was doing and run to the left corner speaker of the living room, always the left one, a speaker that was as tall as me at the time, and just stand in front of it and sway from side to side for the entirety of the song. The song literally put me into a trance. So, needless to say, I have always been captivated by music. And in fact, I'm pretty certain that I had my first mystical experience as a direct result of music when I was 6 years old. Now, keeping in mind my dad's influence on my musical taste, when I was 6 years old, my favorite song was Learning to Fly by Pink Floyd. And if I'll Be Watching You compelled me to sway, Learning to Fly, at least on this particular morning, compelled me to spin. I remember being in the sun-soaked dining room, barefoot on hardwood floors. Not much has changed. When I heard that opening drum blow and guitar riff and immediately started dancing around, as I was wont to do. But pretty quickly, though, the dancing turned into spinning, just spinning, round and round and round and round. And before I knew it, and without thought, I was fully embodied in the moment, arms stretched out wide enough to hold the entire universe, head gazing up towards the sky, twirling in circles around the dining room table, spinning on in this cylindrical meditation. Now, the reason I refer to that memory as a mystical experience is because of the undeniable, palpable, full-body knowing I had in that moment that I was a known, loved, and seen child of the universe. As I melted into that moment, I knew that I was witnessing God, not as a figure, but as an entire universe, a life force. And I knew that God was witnessing me and delighting in me. And even more than that, I knew that there was no separation between the two. What I was experiencing was the deepest, truest part of me. And the deepest, truest part of me was what I was experiencing. I knew the essence of God at 6 years old because I was the essence of God. It was the purest identity of love and belonging. The song ended, but the knowing did not, at least not yet. I had other moments as a young child when I felt that same assuredness of divine tethering on an undoubtable level. My maternal grandparents lived out on a tobacco farm in rural Mountain Creek, North Carolina. There is nothing overtly majestic about that land, just tobacco fields, cow pastures, and red dirt roads for as far as the eye could see. But it was indeed a special place to me. And I remember as a little girl sitting out in those fields, literally losing myself in the connection of it all. Sometimes it was hard to tell where I ended and the land began. It was all connected. It was all divine. It was all God. And I was an intimate part of it. As a child, I felt cradled inside the heart of a mystery that simultaneously delighted in me and breathed through me. I felt divinely at home inside of myself. Looking back on these memories, there are a couple of things that I really cherish about those moments, apart from the experiences themselves. The first was the absolute assuredness I had that what I was experiencing and sensing was real. My inner knowing could be trusted. My triple self-doubting Enneagram 469 tri-type hadn't fully come online yet, and so there were no attempts to talk myself out of what I knew to be true. I felt it, I experienced it, I knew it. That was enough. And it was most likely enough, due in part to reason number 2, why I hold so much regard for those moments. Because it was enough for the knowing to just exist. I didn't need to prove myself to anyone. There was no need to try and wrap up my experience. There was no need to try and wrap up my experience into some neat little box so that I could put it in the hands of another person for validation. My belief in myself was enough. The divine connection I felt as a child was like a glowing cosmic umbilical cord. I knew I belonged to the universe. I felt safe and expansive in that belonging. Little Melissa was free to be big, to be silly, to fall down, to make mistakes, to get curious, to be open, to be messy, to be loud, to be creative, to be quiet, to be wild, to be kind. She was free to see herself in everything, and she saw everything inside of herself. But somewhere along the way, that connection began to grow thin. Umbilical cords never go uncut, I suppose. Separation, it seems, is simply a part of the deal. That still not so small voice of my childhood soon began to not carry nearly as much weight as the outside voices who had all sorts of things to say about who I was, what I was worth, where I fit in, and what I was deserving of. What other people thought became a dominating force in my life. I put my North Star into the hands of everyone else and inevitably wound up very far from home. The little girl who once felt like she occupied the heart of the universe suddenly felt as if she was standing outside the house with her face pressed against the glass, watching as life bustled on inside, praying to one day be seen and deemed worthy enough to be invited in. I became someone who needed to prove my worth. I needed to define my experiences. I needed a story to prove that whatever I was trying to convince myself to believe, which usually boiled down to some version of I'm worthy of being known and loved, actually had merit. Now, I don't think that I ever actually lost my belief in the idea that there was something divinely poetic and beautiful and mysterious happening here. After all, I get goosebumps listening to lyrically on-point music, and I love poetry and dancing and nature, and get lost staring at the moon and believe that the river is listening to me when I lament to her. Even at my lowest point, and it got pretty damn low, I still believed in some version of God. My problem was my version of God no longer included me. I was trying to make sense of a world I felt separate from. So much of my first half of life was spent desperately trying to prove myself worthy through stories I told about myself. I felt abandoned by my mother's death, so I concocted stories of strength and perseverance. I felt incomplete in my role as a single childless woman, so I concocted stories of independence and self-sufficiency. Now, this is not to say that strength and perseverance and independence and self-sufficiency don't have their place. They can be very good and useful qualities. But I was using them as a mask to prove that I had value. So all they did was keep me hidden from myself. But in 2023, I was brought right smack dab into the center of myself by way of my unborn daughter, Tallulah. As many of you know, after struggling to conceive for nearly 3 years as a single mom by choice with my own eggs, With the help of my doctors, we implanted a tested and healthy donor embryo in December of 2022 that stuck. I carried sweet Tallulah inside of me for 6 weeks. However, unfortunately, at the 7-week ultrasound, I got the devastating news that she had stopped growing. In the months after the miscarriage, so much of my grief centered around the fact that I didn't know what to do with her. I didn't know what story to tell. Nothing felt convincing enough. I had competing stories and I didn't know which one to believe. I knew the one I wanted to believe, the one I felt was true, that she was as real and as much my child as any one of my other friends' kids, that she was my daughter and I was her mother and I had every right to grieve as such. Why would I not continue to refer to my child by name? But on the other hand, I couldn't stop thinking that that was a ridiculous notion. She wasn't my child. She was a 7-week-old fetal pole. Why would I refer to a now non-existent fetal pole by name? I was deeply knotted up in shame, grief, and severe self-doubt. It's almost as if I was trying to figure out whether my experience counted or not. Was that something, or was it nothing? About 5 months after the miscarriage, I found myself at a holotropic breathwork workshop. If you're unfamiliar, holotropic breathing is a specific style of rapid, deep breathing paired with music intended to help people enter into non-ordinary states of consciousness and activate the natural inner healing process of the individual's psyche. Music as a tool to enter into non-ordinary states. I've been training for this since I was 6 years old. Let's go. That day was a whole story in and of itself. But for our purposes, let's just say, Tallulah made it irrefutably clear that she counted. In one 3-hour session, yes, the breathing sessions last for 3 hours, Tallulah gently, and at times not so gently, guided me past the bullshit of self-doubt. She demonstrated her power with a gravitational pull from the center of my womb so intense that it momentarily paralyzed my arm with its entrapment. It was slightly terrifying, realizing that I couldn't lift my hand up off my belly, but it was mostly just beautiful. I wept at the truth of her. A part of her was so clearly still there. I was not crazy. As I laid there weeping, giving thanks to her, giving thanks for her, her energy began to shift. It softened slightly, I thought as if about to disappear, but then it started to move. And before too long, I realized what the energy was doing, what I was doing. In an instant, I was pulled up onto my elbows, back arched, knees bent, and even my breath changed into a labored breathing. I knew exactly what was happening, and I wasn't controlling it. And in the same way that I suspect women who give birth to things other than energy would tell you that their bodies just knew what to do, that was the same exact thing that was happening to me. I could feel contractions. I was pushing. I could feel the weight of gravity pulling energy down through my body. I was birthing Tallulah. By the end of it, my legs and feet were completely off the ground, shaking with a fiery intensity as my body released the last of what it was holding on to. And then it was done. I collapsed back onto the mat, and everything went black. Out of the blackness, a vision of the cosmos started to emerge, and in that moment, and again without any thought as to what I was doing, I surrendered Tallulah back to where she came from, to her true home. I felt a flood of gratitude wash over me that I had been trusted with her, even for such a short amount of time. I felt immense honor that I had been chosen as the vessel for her journey. But even more so, it seemed clear to me that in fact she had chosen me for this very purpose: to teach me, to guide me, to remember my true nature. In the same way that the experience of both having and losing my mother forever changed who I am in ways that are hard beyond words, but also immeasurable in their value, so did the experience of choosing, knowing, loving, mothering, and surrendering this 7-week-old fetal pole named Tallulah. Something began to shift for me after that day. It was almost as if the act of trusting myself so deeply in that moment to allow what needed to happen, and then surrendering the evidence of that trust back into everything, reestablished that glowing, divine umbilical cord that had once tethered me to the very heart of the mystery. In returning Tallulah back to everything, I returned myself back inside of the story. I don't wrestle as much with a world I feel separate from, but rather I walk softly again in a world in which I see myself everywhere. Tallulah came to rebirth me. I know it like I knew it at 6 years old, spinning circles in the dining room. I know it like I knew it sitting out on the farm. I know it because I know it. And that is enough. That was the day I began to realize that for all those years I had spent feeling trapped outside the house, using all the tools at my ego's disposal to prove that I was deserving and worthy of being invited inside, that the door had always been wide open. All I had to do was walk inside. Tallulah was the beginning of feeling divinely at home inside of myself again. Amen.
Every breath you take. Had I known. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Sorry, we got tuned for a second.
Little higher.
This one?
Go ahead. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Yep. Mouse tracks.
Isn't this a C?
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. We're in C.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Okay, yep. Remember how we did the, you did the actually, we'll just do it just like we
Every breath you
practice.
take, let it go.
Every breath you take.
not that
Oh, okay.
Across the Great Divide.
right. Okay. Well, I've been walking in my sleep, counting troubles instead of counting sheep. Where the years went, I can't say. They just turn around, they've gone away. And I've been sifting through the layers, dusty books and faded papers. Tells a story I used to know. It was one that happened so long ago. And it's gone away like yesterday. And I find myself on the mountainside, where the rivers change direction across the Great Divide. Now I heard the owl calling softly as the night was falling, with a question, and I replied, now it's gone across the borderline, and it's gone away like yesterday, and I find myself on the mountainside, where the rivers change direction across the Great Divide. Finest hour that I have seen is the one that comes between the dark of night and the break of day. It's when the darkness fades away, and it's gone away like yesterday, and I find myself on the mountainside, where the rivers change direction across the Great Divide, and it's gone away like yesterday, and I find myself on the mountainside, where the rivers change direction across the Great Divide.
You can keep playing the music, that is. Yeah, play us out. Play us out, folks. If you've wondered why some of the slides maybe didn't have the precise lyrics, we were really leaning into our garage band DNA this week. Because typically, Melissa probably curates, I don't know, at this point, 75 to 80% of our new music. And so we know what it is, and we line the music up with the theme, but I knew roughly what Melissa was going to talk about, but I did not know what she was going to talk about. And it was so beautiful. And so we tried to get music that kind of aligned up. And yesterday, Sky is chaperoning a trip to Carowinds and sending me lyrics from the lines. And I couldn't get to it till early this morning, and I didn't know some of these songs, and I was like, well, we're just going to go with what we got here. It's a very forgiving group. It's going to be wonderful. And it was beautiful. Thank you. I also want to thank Denise Hammock, and Doug Their son Michael got married to Caitlin on Friday, and that's why you see these beautiful trees here. Michael and Caitlin, we love you. Congratulations. Wonderful. We'll send that to you. And Denise had found these beautiful trees that you see here along the side. I worked with Morgan to get them, and they were going to send them back. And Morgan's like, no, we want them. So look, we've got all of these beautiful trees here in the chapel now. And so thank you, Hammocks. Thank you, Morgan, for being the liturgist this morning. Thank you for such a beautiful message. Thank you for such beautiful music. Friends on the live stream, so glad you joined us this morning for this kind of different service. It was so lovely. If you are new to us and you want to do something that we're about to do here in the room online called What Are You Thinking, Sensing, and Feeling, we invite you to click the link below this video and join some of the best people I know who are going to have a conversation about today's lesson, about the service, about what's going on in their lives and what's going on in the world. We're going to do the same thing here in this room, but if you want to join those folks, they would love to have you join them. If you're not up for talking this morning, or you are joining at a different time this week, then you can click the link below and request an email to learn a little bit more about us. Not dissimilar to the email that Morgan mentioned at the beginning of this service, but this one has a little more remote specificity if you think that being involved with us remotely is going to be the way that's going to make the most sense for you. And with that, friends in the room, can we dismiss our friends on the live stream by putting one hand on our heart and remembering that God on the inside, that divine life that has been in us from the beginning and all eternity, is here right now. And we are called to share what is in us with everyone with whom we live, with whom we work, and with whom we go to school. So let's extend our other hand to our city and to our world as we take seriously this week, as we do all weeks, to become healers and repairers of our world. Amen. Friends on the live stream, God bless you. You are dismissed. And friends in the room, I invite you, as always, to get grounded and get in touch with what you are sensing and feeling before we talk about what we are thinking.